this is kind of like the purpose of what I'm talking about today. I'm going to talk about how to automate tests and how to do it for free. Like Stine says, I've been working since '92 with APL. I've always seen APL just as a tool. It's never been a religion for me. It's just like any other tool. But I've been working with it for 30 years, so of course I am quite fond of it. My current position in SimCorp is system architect. And like I told a couple of you guys yesterday, we were 3 tech leads and we drew straw. And the loser got to be a system architect because he's the one that goes to all the meetings. SimCorp is in a great move. Now we have one major project called SimCorp Dimension. And that is built every day and it is qualified and verified and it's a huge system. It's 5 million lines of APL code and 5 million lines of C# code, plus some others. What we have to do now as our current challenge is that we are moving SimCorp Dimension from own developed repositories into GitHub. And while we're doing that, we still have to produce every single day. So we kind of like have a challenge to build something completely new and still maintaining everything and not break anything in the old one. Very brief about SimCorp. We bring integrated solutions to the investment managers. The yellow dots are here representing our offices around the world. And normally this one that marketing is doing doesn't have this one, so I put this one in. But Carlo's not here today, so but we do have an office in Milan, but we have a tendency to forget that as well. We don't have that many big clients. I mean, this is world's largest fund managers, huge managers. So we have these about 200 clients running the SimCorp Dimension solution. And then we have another number of other products that is also running with another set of customers, but it is not that many compared to how big this is, SimCorp is. So, enough marketing. This is my motivation, right? So we all, when we develop APL code, we test our code. Everybody does that. And if you're seasoned, and now I've actually added young, you also build functions that test this because you don't want to test it again and again and again. You want something to automate this. And if you're really modern, then you make something run these tests for you so you don't have to do it yourself. And I will try to demonstrate this from end to end. So in principle, we start up with a clean workspace, and then we build an application. We build a set of test cases. We put it into Docker. We make YAML files and put it into GitHub, and then everything just works. And when I talk to Gil about, Gil has been helping me with this part of this presentation, he said, "You're mad, you will never be able to do that in 30 minutes. And he's right. So I kind of cheated on the way, and I am trying to do, which is probably totally crazy, I'm trying to do this live instead of doing, I have a backup in my PowerPoint, but I prefer to do it live. So you guys know what to do. And I will do the butler did it. So this is where we're going to go. Right here you can see at github.com, my username is Stampes, my middle name, plus an S. And the public repository we have here is called CI Simple. And what we're going to go to, we're going to focus on this little green one here. You see that? This is what this talk about. How to get this one, how to make it green. This is kind of like a messy repository. You can see, normally, and I really not recommend to do this, but this is for demo purposes. This is kind of like a proof of concept get started something when you have to do something Docker. There's a UG runner. That is a tool. That shouldn't be in your application repository. And then you have what I'm going to talk about, the application. And the application is placed here in source. Source is go away. Is having two directories. It has an application directory and a test directory. And I've done something that is extremely controversial, so I have to admit that right away. Because I've invented a new file extension just for this demo. It's called aplt. And the idea about that is that when you build tests, you should be able to recognize and distinguish them from your application. Whereas if you go to the application, these are called APLF. So are you guys following me? So the main folder, that's the application. And the test folder, that's our test cases. Let's go to APL because it is about APL, right? So I've made a command here, and if you have good eyes or sitting close enough, you can see I've actually set two environment variables. I call one main folder, and one I called test folder. Close enough? Yeah. Good. Okay, so what we have here, I've loaded my application, input bundle discount. What it does, it takes kind of like what you could imagine that marketing will go say, let's make a good deal here, right? Buy one, get one for free, or buy two, get two for free, or buy whatever for free. So even though I'm not going to talk about this code, it kind of like parses text strings like buy number of something, get number for free, or buy a part and get part at discount. So this is what you do while you're testing or while you're developing in here. You say, well, oh, that's okay. So it's a simple function, and I'm pretty sure if Gil got about 5 minutes, you could do everything in regular expressions, but it's kind of like beyond the point. The point is not, just think about this as a black box here, right? That gets the text, parses it and says, is this text okay or not? So you will, while you're testing and developing this, you would say, oh, buy one, get one for free. That's not okay. Why not? Exactly the four. I mean, that's stupid. But so when you do this, you should, of course, test kind of like all the different things. Now I'll make one that is kind of like strange why it doesn't work. It says buy 5, get 1 for free. It doesn't work either. And that is because the stupid developer, when he developed this, only invented 1, 2, 3, 4 here, right? So this is what this is about. This is about these lines that you write in the apl session all the time. And when you're testing stuff, this is what you do. Okay, so let's go on a little. So let's load the test. And don't look at that line, but that one actually fetched the test in. And now I have one where I can say, bundle this guy. Oh, didn't give anything. This buy one, get part fail. Okay, what is that? Well, that is when you make a test. Make sure it also fails, that the function also fails. Don't test for only the positive things. And my test is all built like this, right? Make a specification, run the function on that given specification, and you get an expected output, and then you test whether the expected output is as you want it to be. This is very simple, I admit that, but it is just functions running, and they will throw a signal if there's something wrong. Good. So far, so good. Now at least I have the functions. I can press them one by one, and then they will all be okay. But I don't want to do that, right? I really don't want to do that. I want somebody to have built into my development environment. And I'll take a short step to the side, because part of this about building tests here is, apart from being a very, very good idea to do that, even though I hate to do it myself, so I kind of like force myself to do a speak about saying something positive about it. I went to a great course by a guy called Roy Oshaw about test-driven development, and if you have a chance, please have a look at him. When I plan to put up my presentation at the GitHub repository, you can see there's a link to Roy's speak, and he's talking about this test-driven development. But I was pissed because I went to this test-driven development course, and then we were doing it in C#, and I was so envy on MS Test and about all the infrastructure and test world around this. You literally only had to write square bracket test, square bracket, and then you could run a test. You didn't have to do anything else. By magic, this was run for you. And I really feel that we in the APL environment lack these tools, right? We have a brilliant development environment. Everybody here loves this IDE. But when it goes to a little beyond just writing the code, but actually automating and running around the code, I think we could do better. So what I did was I took a unit test runner that Gilgamesh has written in SimCorp, and then I stripped it down because when R is crazy, it has to do something about it. It's very simple. Well, it goes to the main folder. Remember, I set up the main folder when I started up the dialog. It loads all the APL functions, which is as it's seen as the application folders. And then it loads all the test folders, test functions that we have here. And then in a very, very simple loop, it runs the test functions one by one, says, oh, there is so many functions, and run it, and if it doesn't trap anything or it just executes, then we're good and fine. Otherwise, we will collect some information about when it's running. And then at the end of run, we can then go off and then say, okay, was it success or not? If we run this is in the session. It will go, but remember, this is very important to understand here. This unit test runner here runs on the code from the source file. It's not running from the inside the workspace. So the stuff has to be out on the folders originally. But if you're using link, that's no problem, because as soon as you press escape on your function, it's materialized on the file. So this is running the files. And then I've just added some kind of like not very nice output here. And then said, okay, let's execute 4 tests, and then we will tell that they are all okay. And maybe I should just, maybe I'll just to prove to you that this is this works even if I mess this up, right? So I add this one by 5, and remember I told you that 5 wasn't working. So if I run my unit test runner now, I get that this one is wrong. And you can go investigate. And this is, of course, nice that you could get it in here. So maybe we should fix the application as well. Should we do that? Say, okay. By the way, one other thing Roy Oshaw says, when you do test-driven development, first make your test fail, because otherwise you don't know if you've actually solved the code. So, 5. So, let's see if we fixed it. So that's nice. But, I mean, this is a tool that you put into a session. That's nice when you're doing development, right? But if you have a huge application and you think that you can change something without affecting anything else, do you run all the tests? Maybe, maybe not. But wouldn't it be nice that you don't have to think about this? What is this if this was always executed for you? So that when you're running this, you can decide whether you're running in your system, but as soon as you commit it, as soon as you push your changes to GitHub, it will be automatically executed for us and you'll get immediate feedback on this. Okay, so what Dyalog has is they have a Docker container that you can just refer to, and then you can, by mapping a folder from your file system into the app area, you can execute that and get that one to run for you. Oh, crap. Well, anyway, you can see it loaded a function called getStarted here, and it says hello world, and it is now 8:18:50. Wait. Oh, something's wrong, but it is, apart from 2 hours, it's actually okay. So we have a way where we can run APL code in a Docker container. But that's not what we want, right? What we want to run is we want to run our unit test runner in APL code in a Docker container. We want to make a new Docker container that runs and has a unit test runner. So we go over here and, oh crap. We make a slight modification. So we take the Docker image from Dyalog, and then we enhance it. We make a main folder. You can kind of like follow me now where we're going, right? We make a main folder, and we make a test folder, and then we make a test folder. Then we take this repository that I just showed you, and then I actually just expose those two new direct folders here, and then I set the main folder, the one that when I started the Dyalog, I set that up, set it to point to main, set the test folder to point to test, run in a container, forget about that, and then tell the APL to run this file. So this is our unit test runner. We've set up now that these two are point to the main and test folder, and then run our unit test runner. We build a new Docker container that we call UT runner. I hope. Good. And then we take in my local folder structure from where I have my source code, I map the main folder into the main subdirectory, I map the test folder into the test directory, and then says call the UT runner. So now you've actually seen that I have gone from having the exact same code. I haven't changed it. Remember, I haven't touched the code line in the APL or any of the utility. I moved it from being a session utility that actually could be executed by a developer at needs. It actually runs in a Docker container. So you can just map your main or your test into this and then run it, just like that. No APL. And from what it could be, I could actually now run all my unit tests from in here using Visual Studio Code as my development environment for everything here. But we're not there yet, but we're close. Because remember where we're going? We're going for this one here, right? And if we click on this, we see kind of like a familiar output here, right? So this is what we want to do. So we want to run that Docker container we just produced in a GitHub action. This is called a GitHub action. And then have it to run every time we pull or push something onto it. I am in the red corner now. I could see from Andy, so I will just... It is immensely easy. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. Even though I may sound like that, I am not a very skilled or very technical person. I started doing this on Sunday, last Sunday, not this Sunday, and Monday at noon everything worked. And I was still doing my full-time job on Monday. So what you do need to do is you have to make a subfolder here where it says, I am gonna, it is by magic picked up by GitHub. As soon as you make a subfolder called GitHub Workflows and you put something in here who's called YAML. I have a sneaking suspicion that Norbert is also going to talk about YAML. But, and what's going on here? Well, you see it here. Well, it says build and execute, that is my name. We build our Docker container here. This is a shorthand of building the Docker container I just showed in. And then we run with workspace source main here, just like the command line I had before, going in here, and then it runs. And I kind of like hope that I can prove my point. So let's see. I've actually I've made two changes, right? So I allowed 5, right? So I'm going to commit this, and I'm going to push this to GitHub. Sorry, GitHub is called SimHub internally in SimCorp. That's why. Now you can see this one is orange, right? I said I allowed 5. Go here. What is going on here? This is pulling Dyalog's Docker container from the Docker Hub. It's making our UT runner on the fly, and then it runs the test. I hope 35 seconds, and then it will give you feedback on this. There's a caveat in this, and this is that unfortunately now that the exit code that the APL should produce doesn't go all the way out to what happened here? Oh, there you go. Sorry. The exit code from the APL session does not go all the way through Docker, but that's a smaller thing, and Gil says that's easy to fix. But I think, in general, I think we should let Dyalog solve that issue more than we should solve that, because otherwise all of us have to amend this. And you got the test running here for now. I know that this is kind of a mouthful, but everything I've said and everything I've shown is in the GitHub repository. And now I have 2 minutes for questions. Oh, that was easy.